What's up, y'all? It's your boy Ace. This is Fantasyze Football. Welcome back. We here once again with some more fantasy football content for y'all for the 2021 fantasy football season. And as always, just want to give a quick shout out to all y'all that come through, watching the videos, showing your boy love and support. It really means the world to me from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. I can't thank y'all enough. But with that out of the way, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today, and that is some of my favorite early values at each position for the 2021 fantasy football season. We're going to be talking about one quarterback, one running back, one wide receiver, and one tight end today. But before we get into it, I did want to quickly mention, make sure y'all are following me on my socials if you haven't yet, and that is Fantasyze_football on Instagram. That's FANTASYZE_football on Instagram, and Fantasyze Ace, spelt the same way, on Twitter. Links will be down in the description. And if you are enjoying the content, if you like the videos, if you like me, please make sure you leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see in the future, what you agree with, what you disagree with. And subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to get notified when a new video comes out. But with all that out of the way, let's get right into some of my favorite values at each position for the 2021 fantasy football season. Now, let's start with quarterbacks. And my favorite value is Matt Stafford, right? And I would be using ADP normally, but a lot of ADP really isn't out yet. There is some best ball ADP, but we focus more on just like regular redraft. So I'm kind of going to give you guys ECR, which is the expert consensus rankings, and then where I've seen them get drafted in mocks for the most part. So Matt Stafford in ECR is the QB 11. And a lot of times I'm seeing him go somewhere in rounds 10 through 12, which is just too late. Matt Stafford is my favorite late round quarterback target. He's going late, 10 plus round. He's one of those guys that you can wait on and wait, and just grab him up, scoop him up, and you should feel confident starting him week in and week out. He's been a very good quarterback with his time in the Lions, but now he moves over to the Rams, where he'll be playing with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Cam Akers, Tyler Higbee's got a good cast and crew, great defense with the Rams as well. Should be a high octane, high scoring offense. Sean McVay as the coach. And the Rams are looking at Stafford as a franchise quarterback. They came out, they said that we're looking 5+ years down the line with Stafford, which is great news. He doesn't have really any competition. He's a great quarterback, so it would take another great quarterback to beat him out anyways. But he does have a little lack of rushing upside, to say the least. But he does make up for it with his upside to throw for over 5,000 yards this season, especially with 17 games, with the weapons he does have. So over the past 3 years, let's look at a little bit of what Jared Goff's done, right? And he put up 4,688 yards, 4,638 yards, and 3,952 yards. So, like I had said, I think it's very feasible that Stafford goes over 5,000 yards in 17 games. Jared Goff went over 4,600 yards twice in the past 3 years in this offense. And I think that Stafford is basically objectively a better quarterback than Jared Goff. I think most people would agree with that. So if he can stay healthy, play 17 games, he does have upside to go over 5,000 yards and throw for over 40 touchdowns. And he has little to no risk as a late round quarterback. Now, moving on from Matt Stafford, we're going to talk about my favorite early value at running back, and that is Mike Davis of the Atlanta Falcons. ECR, running back 28, going anywhere from rounds 5 to round 7 generally. Sometimes they'll even slip into the 8th round. And he moves to the Falcons, right? Where Arthur Smith is the new head coach, former coach of the Falcons. Obviously, we talked about this a little while back in the 5 things I'm excited about for the fantasy football season series we did when we talked about Arthur Smith with the Atlanta Falcons and what that meant for whoever the running back for the Falcons ended up being. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out. But yeah, man, I mean, Mike Davis comes in. They don't draft anyone. They ended up signing undrafted free agent Javion Hawkins, and they have Quadre Allison. So little to no competition for opportunities here. Running back coach Desmond Kitchens comes out a couple weeks ago now and says that the door is open for any Falcons running back to take over and basically be the workhorse. And this is great news for Mike Davis because, like we just mentioned, they don't have much competition there for him. And I don't know if y'all, I mean, I'm sure you did. If you didn't, look it up. The picture that that Mike Davis posted of himself last week with his thighs. This dude is looking huge, ripped. So I think Mike Davis is in for a big year. He should have a big workload. I mean, Arthur Smith does come from the Titans with Derrick Henry. I don't expect the Falcons to all of a sudden become some run-verse team with Mike Davis. But even if they're, running the ball 40% of the time and Mike Davis is handling the lion's share of the workload, he's going to be a great value as the running back 28, getting him in the 5th to 7th round. All you zero RB truthers out there, Mike Davis is one of your guys this year for sure. And he showed last season with Carolina that he can handle a workload. In 15 games, he ran the ball 165 times for 642 yards and 6 touchdowns. And he had 70 targets for 59 receptions, 373 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I really think that he could come in, handle the lion's share of the workload. And for me, if I'm drafting him in rounds 5 through 7, probably going to be my running back 3. I'd be fine with him as my running back 2 if I had to. In most cases, you guys know me, I'm not going to wait that long to get my second running back. But if you're in that, if you want to go out and you want to draft one running back, a tight end or a couple wideouts, and then wait for your second running back, Mike Davis is a great option to be your running back too if you do want to go about it that way. But moving on from running back, we're going to talk about my favorite early value at wide receiver, and that is Antonio Brown of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, in ECR, he is the wide receiver 48. I see him going somewhere in that rounds 9 through 11, sometimes even slipping into the 12th round. But yeah, man, so he resigns with the Bucs, right? And Tom Brady clearly loves him. Tom Brady does love to spread the ball around a bit, but he does come with some risks with off-the-field issues. Injury concerns, not so much, but the guy is a little bit controversial, polarizing, in a couple words. So there is that risk that he does something that may be considered stupid and gets himself taken off the field because of that. But if he keeps his head on straight and does the right thing, then he's got plenty of upside. And when you look at this, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are both coming off in rounds like 3 to 5 latest. Most of the time you see Godwin and Evans, depending on the format, in rounds 3 to 4. I've seen them slip into round 5, more Evans than Godwin. But with that being said, getting anywhere from a 6 to like a 6 to 8 round value on Antonio Brown's great, because if you look at last season, in 8 games, his 16-game pace would have been 124 targets, 90 receptions, 966 yards, and 8 touchdowns, which would have been good for 234.6 PPR fantasy points and 14.7 fantasy points per game, which would have been the wide receiver 16 overall and tied for wide receiver 23 in fantasy points per game. Now, even with regression factored in and Godwin being healthy and Mike Evans being involved and Gronkowski being back, with all of that kind of considered and the off the field issues, being able to get him in rounds 9 to 11 as the wide receiver 48, I think that is an incredible value, because he's the type of guy that, you don't have to spend an early round pick on, that if all goes right for him, he has the upside to finish as a wide receiver too in this offense, because Brady does have a connection with him, clearly likes him. And like I said, you've seen what he did based on his 16-game pace for last year. He has the upside to be an 85, 90 catch guy, 900 to 1,000 yards with 7 to 8 touchdowns. So getting that later on in the draft in those late rounds as your wide receiver 3, as your wide receiver 4, I love that. I think it's great value. And now we'll move on. Last but not least, we'll talk about tight ends. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's a whole lot of great value at tight end this season. So we're going to talk about someone we've talked about a lot already, and that's TJ Hawkinson of the Detroit Lions. I've seen him going in rounds 4 through 6, Really, more recently, 5 through 7. In some 12-team leagues, every once in a while, you see him go in the 4th round. For the most part, it's actually really more like 5 through 7. And I think that's incredible value. He'll probably go after Mark Andrews in a lot of drafts, too. So when you see Mark Andrews come off the board, if you're coming up and TJ Hawkinson's there and you want to take a shot on him, that's the time to do it. He comes with real elite upside as kind of the number one option in this offense. Him, Swift, and then like I mentioned in last week's video about TJ Hawkinson, if you haven't seen that, please go check it out. I would really appreciate that. He comes with that upside to be the number one option in this offense. Actually, he really should be the number one option. I'd be about 80% sure that he is, because it's Bashad Perriman, it's Tyrell Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Quez Watkins, and then you got Swift, who will probably be like the number 2 option in the receiving game, at least I think. And he comes at like anywhere from like a 2 to 4 round discount from Kittle and Waller, where I think that if all goes his way, he could actually enter that tier. I don't think he'll be as good as Kittle or Waller if they all play 17 games, but I think that he'll be closer to them than he would be the tight ends behind him. You know, he comes with that kind of 140 plus target upside. The Lions are probably going to be playing from behind a lot. They're going to have to throw the ball. And who are they going to have to throw the ball to? TJ Hawkinson, baby. Jared Goff, believe it or not, does have a decent history with tight ends. In the games where Higbee was really involved, not last year, but the year before, Higbee was great. We saw that. And Jared Goff likes a short area target. You know, we've seen it with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Get the ball to them, let them do their thing with it. And I think that could be TJ Hawkinson for Jared Goff on the Lions. But yeah, those are kind of my early values. Let's go through it real quick. Quarterback, we got Matt Stafford, ECR, quarterback 11, going in rounds 10 through 12, sometimes even later. Running back, we got Mike Davis, ECR, running back 28, going in rounds 5 through 7. Wide receiver, we got Antonio Brown, ECR, wide receiver 48, going in rounds 9 through 11. And then TJ Hawkinson, tight end, TJ Hawkinson, Detroit Lions, ECR, tight end 4, going in rounds 4 through 6. So that's all I got for y'all today. I really hope you're enjoying all the content. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like, share the video, comment, tell me what you like, tell me what you didn't like, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and who are some of your early values for the 2021 fantasy football season that you've noticed. And as always, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can get notified when a new video comes out. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all for spending some time with me today. It really means the world. With that all out of the way, as always, thank you, love you, peace.